Okay, as I've mentioned before, I have this beautiful tendency to stick my nose in other people's business, as many of you well know. You know, if you stumble on this channel, you're going to find me addressing all kinds of topics and producing strange content about sacred ideas. So I produce oddball uh, upgrades to or variations of ideas from time to time, and I recognize that that's going to be perturbing certain people's conception of ideas that are kind of regarded as perfect. So I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I grew up intensely admiring Socrates, maybe more than any other Western figure, or more than most historical figures, of which I was once aware and am aware in the present. You know, for better or worse, I think to pursue the truth and to try to create useful new ideas is more important than trying to be like a proliferator of prepackaged ideas. So not everybody likes someone who is really freakishly obsessed with Socrates and people like that, but at least I live in the United States where, as long as you're respectful, you get to be a little bit like Socrates. If you have a YouTube channel and you're not being totally vulgar or degenerate or something. So anyway, there's a beautiful movie that I think is, it's well received among people who like it, but I think within the general population in the United States, it may not really be known about, and if it is known about in some circles, I don't think it's really properly grasped as something like a conceivable psychological resting place for a lot of people. So the movie is called Perfect Days, and it is about a Japanese toilet cleaner. And if you encounter that basic idea, you might say, well, that sounds disgustingly boring or stupid or plain or something. And initially, you might be right about that, okay? However, this is a movie which has settled into my system over time, and it's kind of had an undeniably therapeutic effect in the way I look at my life and the world. And I would say if you watch this movie, you should also look up the Substack blog Milk and Cookies by Ayushi Takkar. Sorry to reference a foreign-sounding name for you, but it's an English-language blog, and many of its best entries are available free of charge. I'd recommend you subscribe to it by email, and I'm not a friend of the writer of that blog, but the movie and the blog, when paired together, can introduce you to this salubrious vision of life in which you live a sort of deliberately slow, meditative, mindful, minimally stressful, and consciously arranged life, okay? So, right now, I work in a job within which I consume, caffeine, and like a standard, fairly high dose of caffeine during pretty much every one of my loading night shifts. So loading nights occur on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and outside of that, I consume less caffeine, but I'm still in this mode of consciousness in which I'm not only exerting myself pretty much all the time, but I'm also making decisions around maximizing my capacity for exertion. So when I get off work, I often like to not only relax through looping certain kinds of slow-paced ambient music, but I will drink chamomile tea or like yogi stress relief tea or something and switch into a different mode of mind and being that relaxes me and allows me to recharge before I head into another night shift. The movie Perfect Days is important because I plan to watch it for maybe the fourth time soon, and I may watch it at least 20 or 30 times in a lifetime, because rather than teaching you to obsessively fixate on ambition and self-improvement and externally visible achievement, it invites you to almost conceive of a version of yourself that is so well integrated into a certain kind of peaceful life that you don't even have to pursue social status at all. You don't even have to pursue impressive achievements at all. So yes, I think it's good to be ambitious. I think maybe the rate of output I have here, maybe on this YouTube channel and more so on a platform that hosts my writings, is an indication that I do value high extensive creativity or productivity. But Perfect Days is a movie that kind of slapped me awake and slapped me into righteousness insofar as it reminded me that, like, it is possible to live a life in which you don't have to rush through anything, almost ever. And if you live in the United States and you live on, basically caffeine and a kind of silent or unstated worship of entrepreneurs and rags to riches success stories, and, if you'll admit it, fear of homelessness, then this movie Perfect Days can give you a deep sense of relief from the felt experience of being inadequate just as you are. For a lot of you out there who are men, whose entire identity might revolve around your occupation or the fact that you put blood, sweat, and tears into your work, this movie might feel like, honestly, like an oxygen mask in a crashing plane, okay? For a lot of you, it might be unappealing, but for some of you, you're going to watch this and you're going to be like, this is the most healing thing I've ever experienced. It's even more healing than, like, decades of therapy or a religious conversion or something, okay? If you're the right sort of person, Perfect Days might even save your life. Thank you for watching and have a good day. And God bless you. And stay sharp and sober.